Welcome back, everybody, to Unconditional Surrender in Europe, game designed by Salvatore Vasta, published by GMT Games. This is the German Diplomatic Disaster series. We are getting ready to go into September of 1942. One caveat, you'll see us, the numbers that you'll see rolling up on the screen, we had a synchronization issue with the attack die roll modifier, defender, and movement points. He's using an older version of the module, and the newer version, they didn't sync up right, so you'll see some odd die rolls come through, but we did figure out what was going on and tried to keep track of it, and as far as I can tell, we did resolve all the combats correctly, so be aware of that. And off we go. I should probably push this up a little bit. So there's no declarations of war. We get into economies. Germany is down to 24, so she can't afford to give any to her allies. The Brits are up to 28, and the Russians are up to 32. In the strategic warfare phase, we have it's +2 to +0, or +0 attack, German, +2 Soviets. I believe we went to combat commitment, and we both committed. The Germans have 2 submarines, so they're trying to get back some of their stuff. So Germans play a sub. The Russians played their partisans. I'm not sure exactly where it is at the moment. It's out here somewhere. There it is. And then the Germans managed to only roll a 2. The Russians rolled enough to take down a factory. The German submarines are coming back in 6 turns, and the partisans are coming back in 3. And then I had some problems picking up the submarine there. Finally got it, put it away. Now we're at +2, and the Allies are at +4 because they have a couple of bombed markers down here in Germany. So, and again, I think we go to combat commitment. It was just, once I was ready, he said, I'm doing it, so. My submarines to his Ultra. I rolled a 3 + 2 is a 5, halved to 2.5 rounds up to a 3. This is where we had one of those issues where he should have been +4, but it wasn't adding up right. So that's actually a 5. It's 1 + 4, which is halved to 2.5 rounds up to a 3. So I got back my factory. This is us trying to figure out how things were working. We kind of figured out where the sync problem was. And then we did some testing of die rolls. Anyway, this was me rolling for my submarines, comes back in 4. And his Ultra comes back in 6. Strategic movement. I decided that I needed... Oh, this is us playing with the dice some more. So I picked up my armored unit outside of Velaluki and moved it down here to having a terrible time here. Moved it down here to in northern Italy. He had busted through my pushed me back to the casino line, and I'm trying to hold the casino line. The West didn't have one. I don't know if the Soviets had one either. So we went into Axis operations. First thing I did was go after him. I don't have the air to launch an offensive, but I do need to try and cut down on some of his use of his air. So, and of course I was trying to I think I figured out that it was his movement points was his defensive die roll on my screen. So I ended up with a 4 - 2 is a 2. So it didn't matter what he rolled, he would only get 1. I tried to do the one in the north to see if I'd get any luckier. But again, a 4-2, so I just rang up those two airplanes. I was hoping to get at least, if I could have gotten a 2-for-1 on this one in the north, I could have chipped his airplane in the north down by 1 and possibly gotten a little bit ahead of the proposition that I'm losing in the air war. Now I go back over to Italy. Do some shenanigan moving here. So this guy moves across and down, and then the guy in Venice moves down, and then the guy in Munich fills in where the guy in Venice was. And then I go and move the Yugoslavs up to another defensive line just to make sure that if he breaks through that he has to at least fight me and just can't run up the railroad. It was the best I could come up with. Then I move this Yugoslav over here too to kind of help slow down any breakthroughs from the Brits. Fully expecting a major breakthrough by the Brits. Now we go back to the east, and I just try to do a... Oh, we got rid of his bomb markers. So I'm moving on the guy that's on the Kerch Peninsula there. He's a 0. I'm a +2. I ended up with a 6+2, which is an 8. He rolled a 1. So he's flipped and retreated, and I chose not to take the hex. Instead, I moved back because that was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then moved the Romanians down to hold the peninsula for a while. And this Panzer moves out of the line and goes over here to try and clear this guy that's next to Kiev. And I can't commit anything, so it's up to him to throw things. And he throws a tanks marker on the first one. I rolled a 5+4, which was a 9. He rolled a 5+2, which is a 7, so that's just enough to be a no result. So I attack him again. And he chose not to throw anything this time, and I only rolled a 1+4 as a 5, and he rolled a 5. So now I'm down to my last 2, and then he threw another tanks marker on the second one, and I rolled a 6. 2+4 is a 6. He rolled a 6+2 is an 8. And I was done. I only had 3 attacks, and he stopped them all. Used 2 of his tanks markers, but did stop my attack. Then I moved infantry up here in the north from this. I had 3 infantry across those swamp lines, and I moved him down here to where the armored unit was to try and slow down any advances there. And I think I go back to... had to show him where it came from. And then I moved the 2nd Panzer, 1, 2, 3, 4, and attacked him again. And this time we're at +4 to 0. I rolled a 5, and he rolled a 2, so that flipped him. And then I rolled a 10 the next time and finally got him. Then I thought about it. That was, 8 movement points there. I had 2 movement points left, and I couldn't think of where was the best place to put myself. And I just ended up just staying there. Then I moved this infantry that's in Kiev. Move him over here. I thought about going up there, and I stopped here. And in retrospect, I probably should have moved up. Had the lines forward, but I was trying to make him spend movement points to be able to attack me. I didn't want to be adjacent to somebody that could just start attacking me with air power. And then this infantry moved up there where the armored unit was. And I believe I'm pretty much done. Oh, then I move airplane into from southern France into the border on Italy. Because of the US being in the war, it still fulfills my Western defense requirements. And I'm done. I have 14 or 13 points left, so hopefully going to get 4 airplanes reduced and build my guy. But if he flips something, I have points left to reflip the front line, which is the way I was looking at this. So now we go into Western Ops. Then he activates the BEF to come across the casino line. He forgot to play his partisans. Just so you know, he's using this airplane down here, I believe. And we both committed, obviously. I threw my tanks marker trying to stop this attack. He came across with everything he had, thought about the free forces and said, no, I'll save it. So he's 1 for British, 2 for tanks, makes 3, 4, 5 for the RAF, -2, so he's +3. To my +4. And he rolled a 1 +4, should be +3 to my 10. So not only did I stop him, but I flipped him too. Should have been a 10-4. Why is the BEF not flipped? I don't understand. Anyway, he was +4 against the guy in Naples, and you see me note there that it should have been an 8. 8 to a 5 flips him, so he attacks again, and he has, it should be a 5, because he's still +4. It's 3 + 2 for an airplane, -1 for the city. And I rolled a 1, so I'm eliminated. He takes Naples. Then he attacked across with his, that was 3-6, so he has 4 movement points left. Ability to attack the 6th Infantry, which he does. And he rolled a 7, 3 + 4. I rolled a 5 + 2, which was a 7. So I held that ground. And then his free forces comes back in 4 turns. Then he moves the Canadian up. He gets 1 attack across to the 20th. It's pretty much the same thing. He's 3, 4, 5, -2, +3 to my +2. He rolled a 4 + 3 is a 7. I rolled a 2 + 2 is a 4, so I was forced to retreat. So he was able to do that, which, you know, if I went there, he would have been able to attack me, so I had to retreat to there. And then he brought up the garrison army to help him in assaults, because he's assuming we're going to get some poor weather. And I think he's doing... What are you doing? I don't know. Oh. He is moving around some he took around some sorties. And went off to the operations phase. Oh, he wanted to change up what he was doing. He took the 2nd convoy back to England, and then brought the American convoy down into Naples and took the sorties on it. So that took care of that. Now we're into the Soviets. Here he's going to launch his offensive. Move the guards unit up. Attacked the 2nd Infantry. So he was 3 plus an airplane, 5 to my 2. So he was a 7, and I rolled a 4, so I was forced to retreat. And I thought about it, and I said, I really want to retreat there so I'm not isolated. He had spent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He had 7, so now he's down to 5. And he attacks it, using up his airplane again. Oh no, he didn't. He just attacked at +1. So he was a 7 and I was a 6. So then he came after me again. He rolled a 4. Should have actually been +1, not 2. Yeah, should be a 5, and I rolled a 4, so I held. And then he came after me again. He managed to roll a 7. I rolled a 5, so I held for a turn. Then he brought the armor over, because that infantry can't retreat, so he's got 4 attacks basically here. He threw in his airplane on this one to try and get me early. Rolled a 1 + 4 is a 5. And I rolled a 3, so I was retreated. Didn't quite get high enough die roll. So then he attacks me again and gets a 3, and I rolled a 1 +. I should have been at 0. Yes, I rolled a 3. So I held for a turn, and then I think he gets me here. Yes, he gets a 6, and I get a 1. So I'm eliminated. There's another will point, so I'm down to 60 will. And he has got 1 more attack. And he rolled a 3, and I rolled a 4. So net numbers, so I held there. Then he took this armored unit and came in here, again attacking the infantry. He rolled a 3 + 2 is a 5. I rolled a 4 + 2 is a 6. He rolled a 4 + 2 is a 6. I rolled a 5 + 2 is a 7. He rolled a 1 + 2 is a 3, and I rolled a 3. Then he rolled a 6, and I rolled a 6. Net. So I kind of held him off. Then he backed off this guards unit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I believe he attacks the infantry at +1 and rolled a 2, 1 + 1, and I rolled a 6 + 2 is an 8. So I actually got an. Not only did I stop his attack, but I flipped the guards unit. And moves this armored unit up, and he's done. Because he has so many units to flip. He has 2, 4, 5 points on the field plus 12 for his aircraft. He wanted to bring all his aircraft down. So that's 17. And he only has 22. So we went off. Oh, he also had the guy down in Kirch. That's right. So he had like 18 to flip, and then he was going to build 4 points. So I'm going about. I bring down airplanes, both in the south, the one in the center, and then I went over to Italy, I believe. Did I do the one in this? Yeah, I did all the ones in the east, that's right. Okay. The west, just doing their standard stuff here in the med, so. And he did his all 3 fighter craft. He had taken down Bomber Command 2. And then I think he's doing convoys now. Yes, he takes down his convoys, does the American convoy here. A minute, there we go. And then he took Bomber Command He forgot to run bombs, but he ended up with Bomber Command having 0 sorties, so he can run lots of bombs in poor weather. And I think, oh yeah, I reminded him to do his American fleet that's sitting up here in North America. So, and then we go over to the Soviets. This is kind of standard. Just get those airplanes down. So he's flipping over his ground units first, and then he goes through and does his aircraft. And then we're done with that. No upgrades, mobilization. I still had a point left, so I spent it and put my infantry unit in Königsberg because it's going to have to come over here to help in the east. He gets an American airplane, and then the Soviets built, believe they build 2 shock armies and a tank army. So there's the shock army, there's the tank army, and then he's trying to figure out where to put the third. And I think he ended up there, figuring he needed it more in the south. And then we're to end of turn, where we're just reloading our stuff. And like that. And that's the end of October. So then we go into weather phase. And I rolled a 254. So in October, that's poor, severe, and poor. So that at least slows down his attacks. It's severe where we're not going to have any attacks anyway, France and places like that. So there were no declarations of war. We go to the economy. Again, I'm at 24. British are at 28, and the Russians picked up a Urals factory last turn, so they're up to actually 34 now. And then in December, they will actually be at their maximum Ural factories. They'll be at 9. So the Russian economy has not been stymied by Germans at all, really. Strategic warfare. It's a +0 to a +2 because, there's nothing we can do about it. I rolled a 4. He rolled a 6 +2, so he got a factory. And we go into the east, or in the west. He went ahead and played his partisans. He started to play his partisans. So I was a 6 +2 is in 4. And then he's a 2 +2, which is a 4. So I got my factory back. And then he comes in 5 turns. So the partisan will be not around for a while. He figured he had poor weather through the winter here, and he wasn't going to make much headway with the partisans. So strategic movement. I don't remember what I did here. Not sure I did anything. Oh yes, I pulled the infantry unit that's sitting here in the casino line that's already been breached. And I took it, put it on my card so that I could bring it over here to the eastern front behind the Dnieper River because it looks like he's going to break through. And he didn't have any, and so we went into Axis operations. So the Yugoslavs move up to hold the itty-bitty casino line. The Germans move back behind the Tiber River into the mountains. And the armored unit moves up here so that he has the hardest time to try and do any kind of assaults. It was the best I could think of. And Rome is actually Axis, not Allied controlled. We have the wrong control marker there. So then I go over to the east and I go, pull this guy out of the swamp, Hex, and move him into Kiev. Move the garrison unit into that swamp hex. Move the Romanians in to keep it in supply. That's what all that is. Then we go after him. Because it's poor weather, it's just an exchange of airplanes. He jumped the gun when I said I was attacking with the 5th. He put it on that one. I went, no, I'm going after the 2nd. And then I had the 4th. Go ahead and run him up a couple. I'm just trying to cut down the number of sorties he has available. And I think the guy in the south, because I can't reach him, I just left the guy in the south there. And then I move the infantry that was there. Oops. Goes across the river and then down the rail. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to attack that armored unit. And then I had to move this armored unit down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I go there. And I did not use the 1st Panzer. Instead, I went with this. We were both able to throw in airplanes. So right now I'm 3, 4, -1, so I'm +3 to his +2. Or +1, actually, because it's poor weather. He's only +1 as an armored unit. We go to combat commitment. It was kind of a no-brainer. He throws in his airplane, I throw in mine, so we each get an extra +1. So it's +4 to +2. Then I went ahead and threw my tanks marker to make it +5 to +2. And I rolled a 6. So 6 + 5 is an 11, which guarantees I'm going to retreat him. So I push him back. And I chose not to take the hex. Why, you say? If I stick myself out there, I'm just begging to get wackerdoodled and pushed back. So I wanted to have some sort of a straight line here with the armor at the point where you can attack me from 3 hexes. And then I'm going to move the 1st Panzer here. Maybe. Yes, I move the 1st Panzer, trying to figure out the best place to put it. And I had all sorts of places, and I decided to go there. And I'm playing with Yugoslavs here. Nope, I think I'm just done. Yep. So, boom, I was done. Left myself 14 points this turn. And hopefully things will hold. So, the Allies decide to get rid of this pesky Yugoslav. He's starting off at +1, and then he throws in a tank and an airplane. I'm at -2. I don't have any ground support. He shouldn't have been +3. Yeah, he shouldn't have been +3. He was 1, 2, 3 for the airplane, -1, 2, 3. So it should have been a 0. A 5 to a 1 still would have forced a retreat, so it doesn't matter. It does matter because he eliminated it and we did that wrong. So he got away with 1. Because he's 1 for British, 1 for tank, 1 for airplane, -1 for the ridge, -1 for the rough terrain, -1 for the thing. Did he use this guy? Oh, he threw in the tank to give him an extra +2. Should have been +2. So he would have been 7 to my 1, which still would have been a DD. So it doesn't matter from that standpoint. It still would have been eliminated. But we had the number wrong. So then he moves the Canadian up. And I believe he goes after the infantry unit. He throws in an airplane. So he got up to 3, 4, 5, minus 1, 2, 3. So he's plus 2. Or no, he's 2, 3, 4, minus 3. So he's plus 1 to my plus 2. Right? He's 1, 1, 2, 3. No, he's 1, 2, 3, minus 3. So like I said, it should be a 3, not a 4. And I rolled an 8 anyway, so that actually flipped him over. If you look on the combat results table, this is important that it was a 3, because a 3 to an 8 would have been a flip, whereas a 4 to an 8 would have just been an AS. So that's why it was important that we got that number right. Because not that he doesn't have the points to just go ahead and flip him. And then I think he was basically done. He's flying bombers saying, "Oh, do you want to intercept me?" I said, "Poor weather. I can't really succeed, so just go ahead and throw your bombs." I saw no reason to run up sorties on an aircraft that can't stop him. Then his convoy in North America picks up the airplane, brings it down into Cardiff, and I didn't bother to try and intercept it. And he was going to take it all the way back. I said, "Why don't you just put it there?" Because he has another American one coming next turn. And that way, he has this thing stacked up to move things. And then his final thing is he goes ahead and moves this thing up just so it's in position to do an assault next turn. And you'll see I corrected the control marker in Rome. So that was the West. He's doing his supply thing, running up his convoys. And we're off to the Soviets. So we'll go over to the Soviet Union. He starts here in the north. So he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He throws in an airplane and a tank, so he's +1 for the air, +1 for the tank, +2 for the shot. Grand total of +4, -1. So he should be +3. And I'm a 2. So he rolled a 3. +3 is a 6. I rolled a 2. Should have been a +2, not a +3. I rolled the attack or die roll by accident. And so I hit the wrong die. And he went ahead and took the hex. I think he moves somebody. Yeah, he moves this guy down, basically setting himself up for next turn. And I'm not sure what he does down here in the south. He started thinking about that and it was like, this isn't a worthwhile die roll. And then he moved here, did this attack, uses up his airplane, and another tank to try and move this guy in front of Veliluki. So he was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He was 1 for the tank, 2 for each shock is 6, plus the airplane is 5. Makes grand total of 6, -1 is 5. So he rolled a 1, which gave him a 6. And then I rolled a 4 plus 2 is a 6, so I held. So I'm holding against the Russian advances right now. He moved that guy up because otherwise this infantry that moved in to take the junction would be out of supply. And where am I going? Oh, now we're going down to the south, where he's going to line up for an assault, I think. He goes there. Then moves this tank army to there, moves this tank army to there. He's trying to push me across the river. If he can push me across this line here, then the Romanian goes out of supply by his moving this guy here. So now I have problems with the Romanian. I'm not sure why we did that. So I think he throws in an airplane too, right? So this is the primary. So he's 1, 2, 4. So that's 5. And the airplane makes 6. If he throws in the airplane. So he's 5 minus 1. So he took the +4 to +2, I think. Or did we go to combat commitment? No, we went to combat commitment. And so throws in his airplane. I threw in mine. And he threw in a tank. So now he's 6, 7, minus 1. So he's +6 to +4. He rolled a 2 plus 6 is an 8. I rolled a 3 plus 3 is a 6, which is just enough to hold the hex. But I still am cut off in supply from the Romanian. The Romanian will be out of supply next turn. Unless I do something about it. And he brings this armored unit down to here. Thought about it and decided he didn't want to move. He was trying to save some points here, so he moved the shock army up there to kind of hold that line. And then we're in the no supply phase. Replacements for the Axis. This was a little different. I went these 3 airplanes, and then I did 2 more sorties on the guy in northern Italy, because the British are now getting close enough where I want to make him spend some sorties to take care of my aircraft. And I also flipped over, I believe, I flipped the guy in Königsberg, so I'll only be able to build one of my 2 dead units this turn. And we're doing, the West is doing his thing. Bring down his airplanes. Brings down his fleets. And then we're doing the Russians, taking down his airplanes. And he's flipping over his face. His flipped guys. And there's no upgrades. Mobilization for the Axis. I still had 1 point left, so I went ahead and built an infantry in Munich. And did the Soviets have anything to mobilize? Oh, no. He didn't have anything. He did have 2 infantry units, but he didn't have any points left. So he's like, they're 2 regular infantry. I can use them to plug a hole if the Germans should make a breakthrough somewhere. And so we're to end of turn phase where a bunch of stuff comes in, mostly Allied. I did get my heavy artillery. He got another surprise attack marker with the West. And Britain got another factory. So they're up to 5 plus 8, 13. Oh no, 6 plus 8, 14. So they'll be up to 4, 5, 6, 7. I can't add. He'll be at 15. He'll be at 30 with the British next turn. And that takes care of that. And then we go and we roll the weather, which, just to do this, where's the player aid card? So with a 2, you have to go, now you have to look at what you're at. Cold weather in the cold zone, so it was poor weather, and a 2 keeps it poor. A 4 in the mild, it used to be severe, so now it's, you go down to the severe thing and it's poor. And then it stayed poor in the mild zone with the 5 in November. So it's poor everywhere. And we do some. He forgot to build his convoy, so we went ahead and let him build that. And then we just said, okay, we're done. So there you have it. That's September of 42 and October of 1942. No major disasters for the Germans. Minor one in Italy, but it was kind of foregone that it would happen. And yeah, there we are. So if you like my videos, please subscribe. Hit that like button so that algorithms in YouTube We'll keep it up. I also would like people to leave me comments. Do you want to keep seeing this going? Do you want to keep seeing videos on this situation? I've already told my opponent that I am going to play this out. I think he's new to the game against opposed people. I think he's played it some solitaire. So I want him to get the feel for the power of the Western and Soviet armies when you get rolling. You get all those guards armies, you get the airplanes, the U.S. and British, as I've stated before, God's own Air Force. Um, I want him to get a feel for the kind of power that the Germans would be feeling, so that if he's ever playing as the Germans, he knows what can happen and can sort of prepare for it. So we're going to play it out at least for till 1944. I don't know if the Germans will last past the summer of 44, but we're going to play it out for a while. If you guys want to see videos, leave me comments. Tell me to keep going. I will also, when I post this up on Board Game Geek, I will put out a blurb there to say, do you guys really want to see me keep posting these particular videos? Because it's basically going to be how good of a defense can I put up with the Germans from now on till the next 24, 30 some turns. So it's going to be a long defensive struggle for the Germans. And I'm not sure people are really interested in seeing that. So leave me comments. Like I said, subscribe to the videos, hit the like button. And until we meet again, stay safe and bye-bye.